Hello year 3 designers. So yesterday we cut out our fabric, our felt, to make our poppet using templates, and today we're decorating them. So I've got my design in front of me here. Mine was a mammoth, and so I've got the front piece and I've got the back piece. So now I'm looking at the decorations for the front. And the first thing I'm going to do is put a trunk on. So I'm looking through scraps of felt. When we cut it out, there would have been scraps left. So it's good to use those bits and pieces up. Have a look around the room at different colours that people have cut out and say, oh, can I borrow this colour? If you have to cut into a new piece of fabric, that's fine. But it's always good. Looks after our planet, doesn't it, if we recycle and reuse. And now I'm drawing out my first piece of decoration, which is for me a trunk, because I'm drawing a woolly mammoth. And can you see I'm using a marker pen here? I suggest you use pencil for yours. I was using a marker pen so that you could see it really on the film. So once I've drawn out my first piece of decoration, I just snip it out and I'm ready to attach it. Now, you might want to glue all of your decorations on. That's fine. I'm sewing some of mine and gluing some of mine. It's entirely up to you. Some people will love the sewing and found they got on really well with it. And that's great, and they'll want to do extra sewing. Other people, it's a bit tricky. That's fine. We're all going to have a go at sewing because we're going to sew around the edge of our poppets. We're going to sew the front and back together. So if you just want to do gluing for the decoration, that's fine. I'll show you some more gluing decorations on later. But for now, I am sewing on my trunk. So my trunk is there because I'm doing a mammoth. You might be doing a mammoth, or you might be doing other animals. There were lots of animals we talked about that were in prehistoric Britain. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you do. So now I'm drawing my tusks out onto some white felt. And did you see I drew around the first one that I did to make sure they're the same? It's a bit like using a template again. And I've got some felt eyes and felt toenails for my mammoth. And I'm just laying those on. And the idea is I'm sort of just planning it out, what it's going to look like. I'm doing its ears now. Lovely. Now, I'm not going to stick these on immediately. I'm going to sew around the edge of mine. I'm going to get all my sewing done first before I do my gluing. You might decide to do some gluing and then sewing. That's fine. I'm just going to sew on the eyes here. So I've got a bit of felt in the background. So I've stuck that on with some glue, and now I'm just poking my needle through with some thread to sew on a bead. You could glue the beads on as well, but you'll need to put a bit of masking tape over to keep it secure. I'll show you that at the end, how you do that with glued on things, just what to help it stay in place while it's drying. And now I'm doing the back of my puppet. I've got a tail that I designed to go on there, so I'm just cutting out the tail and I've pinned that in place, and I'm just going to do a couple of stitches at the top. If you want to have a tail that sort of wags and moves around, you either sew it at the top or do a blob of glue at the top. So now I'm putting them all together, my puppets, front and back, and I've pinned them together. Did you see that? I've pinned them and I'm ready to sew around the edge. Now, you could sew it like I am, with an over stitch going in at the back, around and back in at the back again. Or you might do a running stitch, and either way is fine. But what you've got to do is keep it near the edge, because this is called the seam. And we want to make sure that we're not going too far in, because we need to be able to fit our hand in. So this is the over stitch I'm doing. You can see here what that looks like. We did have a look and a go at that last half term. And that's fine if you want to have a go at that one. I find that a really strong one. Or if you want to do a running stitch, this is the one that my little friend Tia made. So running stitch or over stitch is fine. If you run out of thread, because you're sewing quite a way round, you just need to tie on another piece. Your teacher will show you how to do that. Don't worry. So here I am, nearly finished. And the idea of me not doing all my things glued on now is it just means that I can show you on this film. You might want to do all your gluing the day before and then do your sewing in your last lesson. That's up to you. You see here, I'm using the masking tape. So I'm sticking things on with the fabric glue, and then I am putting little bits of masking tape over to keep things in place. So masking tape is great because it's not too sticky. It peels off. It won't ruin the fabric like sellotape might do. And it just holds everything in place. There we go, even a little bit on the tail. And there is my finished mammoth puppet. And the only thing you've got to do then is have a really nice play with them. You're going to have a look at how you did, and you can share them and do some puppet shows. And please send me some photos. I can't wait to see what you come up with. Enjoy your puppets, everybody. And remember, sewing's tricky, so just give it a go. Bye. Bye.